The Philadelphia Eagles made a move that might not turn national headlines, but carries serious strategic weight. They've signed wide receiver and kick returner Xavier Gibson, and while on paper it may seem like just another roster shuffle, this is actually a smart, calculated move that speaks volumes about how this front office thinks. Always hunting for the next edge, always looking to fix problems before they become fatal flaws. Let's be honest, Sunday's game against the Rams exposed something ugly in the Eagles' special teams unit, and it almost cost them the game. If you watch the game, especially live, moment by moment, then you know how bizarre it was to see an NFL team completely unable to field a kickoff properly. Rams kicker Joshua Carty was firing off these low, line drive, knuckleball-style kicks that had absolutely no hang time and bounced unpredictably. They weren't deep enough to be touchbacks and not short enough to force fair catches. And the Eagles had no answer. Whether it was Tank Bigsby or John Mechie, who, by the way, had zero previous experience returning kicks, nobody could figure it out. The ball would bounce, skitter, spin, and every time, Philadelphia would be starting deep in its own territory, usually around the 15-yard line or worse. You can't build offensive rhythm when your average starting position has your quarterback standing in the shadow of his own end zone. And to make matters worse, Darius Cooper, one of the absolute breakout stars of the offseason and preseason, went down with a shoulder injury. Cooper, the undrafted rookie out of Tarleton State, had fought tooth and nail for a spot on the 53-man roster and earned it thanks to a phenomenal training camp. He had also been showing promise as a returner. But now, with him potentially sidelined, the Eagles needed to act fast. Enter Xavier Gibson. For those who might not remember the name, let's rewind. When Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles in his very first series with the New York Jets, it was Gibson who became the unexpected hero. Primetime game, MetLife Stadium, against the Bills. Game-winning punt, return touchdown. The place went absolutely berserk. It was the kind of moment that gives a young player instant credibility in the locker room and immediate belief from a coaching staff. And now, he's in midnight green. Gibson's not a big-bodied receiver. He's listed at 5'9" and 189 pounds. But what he lacks in size he makes up for in quickness, shiftiness, and short area explosion. He played his college ball at Stephen F. Austin, same school as Jeremiah Trotter Sr., and made a name for himself as a slot specialist. He's not going to line up outside and win jump balls, but give him space in the middle of the field, and he can be electric. He's had 27 catches in his NFL career for 268 yards and 3 total touchdowns. 1 receiving, 1 rushing, and of course, that unforgettable return. The Eagles can use him in a lot of ways, in the slot, in motion, maybe even on gadget plays, but most importantly, he might finally bring some stability and danger back to the return game, which has been sorely lacking all season. Let's call it what it was. Sunday's return game performance was a disaster. It was embarrassing, and Nick Sirianni didn't sugarcoat it. He stood up in front of the media and took the blame, saying it starts with him and the coaching staff to fix it. But it's one thing to acknowledge the problem and another to take immediate action. That's where Howie Roseman does what Howie Roseman does. He acts. He doesn't sit on his hands and hope the issue resolves itself. He doesn't wait for players to figure it out. He identifies problems and attacks them with solutions. It's almost become a running joke among Eagles fans and insiders. The idea that Howie just gets bored during the season and starts wheeling and dealing to keep himself entertained. But the results speak for themselves. He traded for Bigsby, tried Mechie, gave Fred Johnson a shot, and let's not forget, Johnson filled in admirably when Lane Johnson went down. Not every move is a home run, but every move has a purpose. There's always a layer of thinking behind it. Gibson isn't here by accident. He's here because the Eagles identified a problem, saw his name on the waiver wire, and pounced. And here's the thing. He could see the field immediately. Sunday's matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers might already have Gibson back their returning kicks. That's how urgent this issue is. Because if it happens again, if the Eagles once again find themselves starting every drive deep in their own zone, giving away yards before a single snap is played, it could be the difference between a win and a loss. Against a playoff-caliber opponent like the Rams, they got away with it. But do that in December? Do that in the postseason? You're cooked. What's crazy is that this trend of awkward kickoffs is starting to pop up more frequently across the league. With the new NFL kickoff rules, kickers are getting creative. We're seeing more low kicks, knuckleballs, directional squibs, anything to confuse return teams and limit returns. But you have to be ready for it. You have to prepare. You have to put someone back there who understands how to read the bounce, who has reliable hands, and who isn't going to panic when the ball isn't coming in perfectly. Gibson might just be that guy. And let's not forget how much talent this Eagles team already has. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, one of the best defensive lines in football. There's no excuse for this team not to be aggressive, not just offensively, but in every phase of the game. And that includes special teams. If the Eagles can clean up this one area, they go from great to nearly unstoppable. So, while the Gibson signing might not dominate sports talk radio or blow up on social media, it's one of those under-the-radar moves that can make a real difference down the stretch. You give Jalen Hurts better field position. You remove the mental pressure of having to go 90 yards every drive. You give your special teams a spark. That matters. That changes games. That's how you win championships. And don't be surprised if Xavier Gibson, the once undrafted kid from Stephen F. Austin, becomes a quiet hero for this team. Because that's how it always goes in Philly, right? It's not always the biggest names or the flashiest moves. It's the grinders. The guys who get overlooked. The guys who seize the moment when it's handed to them. Now, beyond the roster move, there's another layer to Sunday's win that fans and analysts alike can't stop talking about. And that's the sudden and dramatic shift in the Eagles' offense after halftime. It was like flipping a switch. One moment, the unit looked flat, disjointed, borderline predictable. And then suddenly, they were slicing through the Rams' defense like it was Week 17 and everything was on the line. The tempo changed. The energy changed. The play calling changed. And naturally, the big question that came out of it was this: who was calling the plays in the second half? Because the difference was staggering. In the first half, Jalen Hurts looked human. In the second, he looked like a top-tier MVP candidate again. He completed 16 of 22 passes after the break for over 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and posted a quarterback rating north of 140. That's elite production, and it wasn't just the stats. It was how the offense felt. There was pace. There was purpose. There was urgency. There had been rumors flying almost immediately that maybe Hurts himself was taking over the play calling. That maybe he had gone full Peyton Manning, diagnosing coverages on the fly, running a no-huddle scheme, and calling his own number. But when head coach Nick Sirianni was asked about it the next day, he cleared it up. The man calling the plays in the second half was Kevin Patullo, senior offensive assistant, someone who's been with this staff for a while now and clearly has the trust of both Sirianni and Hurts. Now, that doesn't mean Hurts wasn't heavily involved. In fact, Sirianni emphasized how good Jalen is at reading the field, adjusting protections, identifying coverage, and communicating what he's seeing in real time. So yes, it was Patullo calling plays, but Hurts was still the engine. He wasn't just executing, he was influencing. And when your quarterback is that sharp mentally, it gives your staff the flexibility to hand over more responsibility mid-game. You're seeing a quarterback evolve into a true field general. And A.J. Brown's comments after the game echoed that same sentiment, and maybe even offered a glimpse into what the locker room has been feeling. He said, pretty bluntly, that with all the talent this team has, they shouldn't be playing conservative. That when you've got so many weapons, the coaches need to let them go out there and be weapons. He wasn't throwing anyone under the bus, but he was making a point. Let your stars shine. Let your dogs eat. And that second half offense? That was a group playing like they were unleashed. Jalen Hurts echoed that same energy. He said they played too many styles of football this year, and that they need to stop playing not to lose. It was subtle, but it landed. When your quarterback and your number one receiver are both sending the same message, it's hard not to feel like they're nudging the coaching staff a bit. They want to be aggressive. They want to dictate, not react. They want to score, not survive. And honestly, who can blame them? The offensive line hasn't been as dominant to start this season, but they're still one of the most cohesive physical units in the league. The running back room is deep. The pass catchers are elite. There is absolutely no excuse for the Eagles to be sputtering on offense for multiple quarters. That second half against the Rams is what this team should look like from the first snap to the final whistle. Up-tempo, vertical, relentless. And if we're being real, that comeback wasn't just impressive, it was historic. The Eagles were down by 19 points in the third quarter. According to win probability charts, they had less than a 9% chance of winning at one point. Then boom, 26 unanswered points. A momentum shift so violent that it stunned the Rams and electrified Lincoln Financial Field. And the exclamation mark on it all? A blocked field goal returned for a touchdown by none other than Jordan Davis. The big man reaching nearly 19 miles per hour on the return, barreling downfield with the roar of the crowd behind him. It was chaos. It was Philly football at its finest. That play alone has already earned a place in franchise lore. But more than the moment itself, it was the totality of the comeback. How quickly the game turned, how impossible it looked before it happened, and how the team responded. That win now sits comfortably among the wildest regular season victories in Eagles history. Think miracle at the Meadowlands, both editions. Think Jake Elliott's 61-yard bomb against the Giants. Think Randall Cunningham's 5-touchdown explosion at RFK. And now, you've got Jordan Davis blocking a kick and turning the tide of the game that felt completely lost. It belongs in that conversation. That's the kind of emotional fuel that can carry a team through the grind of a long season. It's not just another win in the standings. It's a mental checkpoint. It proves you can come back from adversity. It proves you can wake up at halftime and take over a game. And maybe most importantly, it proves that this team is starting to find its identity again. Because let's not forget, the first 2.5 games of this season, the offense didn't look right. Something was off. Something was missing. But maybe Sunday was the start of something different. Maybe Kevin Patullo unlocked a new rhythm. Maybe Jalen Hurts reclaimed his swagger. Maybe the offense as a whole just needed to get punched in the mouth to wake up. Whatever the reason, what we saw in that second half, that's what a Super Bowl contender looks like. Not just because they scored points, but because they adjusted. They responded. They refused to go down quietly. And now, with Tampa Bay on the horizon, the Eagles have momentum and a reason to believe they've turned a corner. The Buccaneers are no joke. They're unbeaten too, coming in at 3-0. But if the Eagles bring that second-half energy to the next game from the very beginning, there's not a team in the league that can stop them. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers have been swirling through the NFL grapevine, and the latest shocker involves none other than Shadur Sanders. The young quarterback who has already made waves in college football with his sharp arm and uncanny field vision, reportedly received a surprising invitation from the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, the Eagles, the very franchise that has been hunting for fresh talent to inject new energy into their offense. But here's the twist. Sources close to the star claim that Sanders' response was a firm and resounding never. According to insiders, the Eagles' interest didn't come out of nowhere. After a season that showcased Sanders' poise under pressure and his ability to read defenses like a seasoned pro, multiple NFL teams have been circling him, hoping to secure a future cornerstone. Philadelphia, in particular, saw a potential match for their evolving roster. Rumor has it that the coaching staff even reached out directly, extending an invitation that many expected the quarterback would seriously consider. Yet, in what is turning into one of the NFL's juiciest offseason storylines, Sanders allegedly shot down the opportunity without hesitation. The reasons remain murky, fueling endless speculation. Some insiders suggest that Sanders is playing the long game, waiting for the perfect fit rather than rushing into the first offer that comes his way. Others hint at loyalty factors, family influences, or a desire to continue building his personal brand before stepping onto the professional stage. Whatever the case, the never remark has sparked a frenzy among fans and analysts alike. Social media erupted almost instantly, with Eagles supporters expressing disbelief, while rival fans couldn't help but smirk at the apparent snub. If true, this could mark a turning point in how top-tier quarterbacks approach their entry into the NFL. It raises questions about power dynamics, player agency, and the growing trend of young stars asserting control over their careers from the outset. Meanwhile, the Eagles are reportedly undeterred, keeping tabs on Sanders and maintaining open lines of communication. Whether this is a firm refusal or just part of the ongoing dance between elite talent and teams desperate to secure it, one thing is certain. The NFL rumor mill just got a lot more interesting, and Shadur Sanders is at the eye of the storm. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.